Well, it's all confusing on the surface, but it's not really confusing when you break down what's going on underneath. What we have is a an impasse between the will of the people in the referendum who voted for Brexit to leave the European Union and a great majority in Parliament that don't want to leave the European Union. And so what we've had is those in Parliament that do want Brexit trying to push it through, but a majority against them in the Labour Party, a number of people up to in the Conservative Party. There's the Scottish National Party, rather. There's the Green Party. They only have one MP, but they're part of the pressure. And all these different groups don't want Brexit. And ever since the referendum, they've been working in the background to undermine it, to at best from their point of view stop Brexit altogether, and worse from their point of view to dilute it to the point where it's not Brexit at all. And that latter point is where we've reached with Theresa May's proposal, which was supposed to be voted on today, but she pulled out because she's going to massively lose. Because A, it wasn't Brexit, and B, it would have allowed the European Union to keep us in the Union indefinitely over this so-called Northern Ireland backstop, and only if they agreed would we be allowed then to leave and have a proper Brexit. Of course, that's ridiculous, because the underlying theme of all this is not only does the majority of the political class across all the political parties in Britain want to stop Brexit, of course so does the European Union. And so the European Union have made it as difficult as possible. They've made the negotiations as hard and as chaotic as possible because A, they don't want it to happen, and B, they don't want to give a message to others in Europe, other countries that also have an increasing number of people that want to leave, the message that it's simple and okay if you want to go. So now we have this situation where if she loses this vote, then there's a much greater chance that we won't have a Brexit at all, because the pressure from the other parties is for another referendum, something I predicted within an hour of the referendum vote. They'll want another referendum, because that's what happens in Europe. They have referendums that go against them, so they have another referendum to reverse it. We've seen it over and over again, not least in Ireland. So this is where we are within this impasse. It's a matter of the political class in Britain not wanting what the people voted for and doing everything they can to make sure it doesn't happen. Well, that's the point. What will be clearly shown, I mean, we know it anyway. Anyone that looks at politics and sees how it works knows this anyway. But if we don't get Brexit, then on public display for everyone to see will be the fact that the political class and the will of the people are not the same thing. That there is a political agenda which is at odds with what the people demand and what the people want. Thus, we will see very clearly that democracy is an illusion. Because what greater example of democracy can you have than you have a public vote with an in-out, the majority say out, and then the political class across the parties, not just one, then work to make sure that that decision is not implemented. So there will be a lot of angry people. There already are a lot of angry people because you know they may see the general public as the great unwashed, this political class, but they underestimate the intelligence of the public, who can see what's going on. Great numbers of them. Their will is being systematically thwarted. So they're going to be a massive response to this if Brexit doesn't go ahead, which it has every chance at the moment of not doing. Well, don't hold your breath waiting for the political class to decide to do the will of the people. And there's another element in this, of course, which is Jeremy Corbyn, the opposition Labour leader, who has had a political career opposing the EU and now leads a party where the majority of the MPs very much support the EU. But you see, we're starting to see. You talk about these populist parties. We're starting to see a reaction now in Europe and indeed in the United States against the political class by those who have been made voiceless by that class. I've said many times the worst thing you can be in any country is a gimme vote. The vote that is taken for granted by the left parties and the right parties, because you get nothing. What all the emphasis on is that other group of people that you need to add on to your natural gimme vote to win power. So they get all the attention. And this gimme vote in the working class urban areas and cities of the United Kingdom has been voiceless for this reason for such a long time. What the Brexit referendum did was give them the opportunity to make a decision that did not then have to be followed up by a political party promising to do it. It was a referendum. It was nothing to do with a political party or voting for them. It was a referendum, in or out. So, and they took the opportunity. And what's happening now in these other countries of Europe, with these populist parties coming to power, and the political class saying, oh, right-wing parties, what's going to happen? Oh, it's all terrible. Well, I say to those people, look in the mirror, because you've created it. You ignoring vast numbers of people and taking them for granted, which we're seeing again now so blatantly in what's going on with this Brexit, has given them a choice to accept ongoing that you are going to go on ignoring them and abusing them, or to vote for someone else. And that someone else is now coming forward and saying things that this group of people, this constituency, wants to hear. So if the political class want to stop the rise of populism, then it needs to stop being the political class and start being the servants of the people, which I thought that's what democracy was about. Well, I think we've already started to see the strategy, and that is to squeeze as much as you possibly can out of the EU, and to maybe now get them to just do a little bit more about, oh no, it won't be forever, we can sort the backstop or something like that out. Because the strategy is this. This is the only way we're going to get Brexit. If you don't vote for this, then there's a very good chance we're not going to have Brexit at all. And note, not by coincidence, none of these things are coincidences, that the European Court has just ruled that if Britain wants, it can pull out without any going to the European Union again. What it's doing is saying, look, this is terrible, it's chaos, it's going to be so bad, and by the way, if you don't want to do it anymore, it's okay, it's fine, let's go back as before. This is what's happening. And so the choice being offered is a Brexit in name only, or no Brexit at all, and that's the strategy they're going to try to push to get this May proposal through. But there's such a force and push against Brexit in general that